Hello and welcome back. It is me, and today we are continuing the discussion of religious freedom, but mainly we're focusing on Christianity. Is Christianity tolerant of other religions, or is it intolerant? And also, we're going to look at the history. And our challenge for today is number 15, Slow Roll. Let's get into it. So, yep, that's about the size of it. Get it? Because it's big. Oh, I didn't mean to... Whatever. This room is annoying. Okay. Good. Oh, oh. I was hoping to make it turn back around so I could get that fire. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so last time I talked a bit about religious freedoms. I didn't really talk that much about it, in my opinion. It was kind of boring. It was a very surface level approach. Let me put it that way. I hope I get a bomb. No, I would like a... There's a bomb. Can I get another? Anyway, today we're talking about something less savory, but I guess more juicy if you're into that. We're talking about some of the complexities of Christianity and whether or not it is religiously tolerant or intolerant, and on a related note, why the Romans did not tolerate Christianity when they sort of tolerated Judaism. I mean, they kind of didn't tolerate Judaism, but they also did for a while, at least until they refused to partake in the Emperor's cult. But yeah, so let me start by asking the theological questions here. Theologically speaking, is Christianity tolerant or intolerant of other religions? The answer is intolerant. That it's I think it's pretty clear. Both Christianity and Judaism, and I shouldn't say both, because also Islam as well, all generally these are known as the Abrahamic religions, all teach that there is only one true religion. Now, that doesn't mean Abrahamic religions are necessarily unique in that, but they also share a number of other features. Oh yeah, I'll go see what the moon has to offer. They share a number of other features. They're monotheistic. They explicitly say that all other gods are either false, if not demons. I'm not sure about Islam, but I do know both Christianity and Judaism mention that. For instance, Psalm 95:5 and 1 Corinthians 10:20 through 22 are two passages you can look up in the Bible, which, again, Psalm being poetic, maybe there's room to argue, but with Christianity at least, it's pretty unambiguous there that Paul says that, what you're ultimately sacrificing to if you're part of another religion is a demon. So yeah, not very tolerant. But here's the ironic thing. In theology, Christianity is very intolerant of other religions, but in practice, it's not supposed to be. And again, I don't mean theologically, because I just mentioned that. Good. Yeah, I have enough. I don't like this room. But I'll play it risky, why not? Oh. Sure. And I guess let me go all the way back to the shop. So what exactly do I mean? Well, in not only the New Testament, but the Old Testament of Christianity, we have explicit commands to be tolerant, really. Again, not of religions explicitly, but of religious peoples. And therein the distinction lies. Oh, okay. Alright, that's perfect. And I will go check out that room. So, what exactly do I mean? In Acts 17... Oh, well, there goes all my keys. Paul actually, if you've never read the Bible, maybe you'd be surprised by this, but Paul praises the faith of the people living in Athens. He specifically praises their dutiful faithfulness to their own gods. Now, he's using that as a talking point to pivot to faith in Christianity, in faith in Yahweh, you know. But still, if it's not something you're familiar with, it's definitely not something you'd expect from one of the biggest authors of Christianity to hear a point like that. But that's not all. Of course, in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, a chapter that I personally love, I reference it a lot, I find it's something that a lot of modern churches still need to understand better, at least in my opinion. Paul basically says that, yes, it is the job of Christians to judge other Christians, but he explicitly states, and again, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, it's not a very long chapter if you want to read it yourself. Paul states that it is not the job of Christians to judge those who are outside of the church, that is, non-Christians. It's not our place, it's God's place. So leave it at that. Which again, I feel people could really do a better job understanding. Both in modern times and historically, I feel like it's not well, respected. And not to mention, there are a variety of passages, actually, in both the Old and New Testament that mention living at peace with other people or your communities, even if you don't share religious beliefs with them. The Old Testament also instructs people not to oppress or even anger strangers living in their lands. And although I don't recall it off the top of my head, you'll have to forgive me for this, I did look it up, and I had a lot of trouble finding it because not that many people actually read the Old Testament, so this question doesn't come up that much. But I recall there being a story in the Old Testament about how when the Jews, or they weren't Jews back then technically, they were Hebrews, or Israelites rather, when they came to the land of Canaan and were supposed to wipe out, rather brutally wipe out, all of the people living in the land that was supposed to be theirs, there were a few people groups that they did not wipe out, and although it generally came back to bite them, I do recall there being one, although which one I can't remember, and again, I did try to look this up. Forgive me, if you know the answer, please let me know. I do recall there being one which they allowed to live within their lands and even took legal protection of, and God was kind of like, okay, I told you to eliminate these people, but if you're gonna really adopt them into your society like this, then I'm going to require you to protect them. Something along those lines. So in the end, what we get, oh, cool, is this weird mix of intolerant theology, but tolerant practices, where you don't tolerate the religions, but you tolerate the religious people and even their practices so long as it's not harming others, like children usually. But that combined with Christianity and Islam's beliefs in proselytization, as well as their beliefs in hell. In other words, not only is it a duty or even a command in both Christianity and Islam, nice, to proselytize, to convert others, it is... Uh-oh, I'm gonna lose my eternal heart if I'm not careful here. Go. Oh. Well, that works. Not only is it a command to proselytize, to convert other people to your... Oh, I'm gonna lose it again. There. It's a command to convert other people, yes, but it is also a... in both religions, Christianity and Islam, you also have the belief that non-believers of your particular religion will also, you know, be punished somehow or another eternally for their transgressions. So all of that together makes a rather intense environment to convert other people, which ultimately leads to, historically, a lot of intolerance. Not all intolerance. It's not as though Christianity is fundamentally an intolerant religion. Again, I pointed out that it's somewhat nuanced, somewhat complex. Oh, I can't get a higher tier rate. Okay, fine. But that historically... Yikes. Like, really yikes. Ooh. Callous. Very nice. So, when I'm talking about historical religious intolerance, I specifically am going to be talking about not proselytization itself. Cool. But, moreover, violence, coercion, or even vandalism against either the peoples or the places or objects of people of other religions. So to that end, the first place we start is the Edict of Thessalonica, or Thessalonica, if you're American. I guess I'm not American then. I've just outed myself. No, that's not true. I'm an American. Oh, right. Yay! Immediately forgot. So the Edict of Thessalonica, as I mentioned last time, was in 380 AD, or CE, excuse me. I've done such a good job always saying CE up until now. You'll have to excuse that. It established Christianity as the state religion of Rome and authorized persecution against heretics. Yeah, I'll see what these are. Sure. Ooh. That's very nice. Let's see, particularly it preached intolerance. Sorry, preached is not the right word. It... Uh-oh. There we go. It was mainly focused on the... Yep, yeah, no stat changes. Where is it? I need to look at my notes from yesterday instead. The Arianism, yeah, that's how language works. Mainly focused on Arianism, which was a separate creed of Christianity. Again, not relating to Aryan peoples whatsoever. This is a different Aryan, spelled differently too. But Arianism, which is a form of non-Trinitarianism, which is to say, does not believe in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Instead, Arianism believes that Jesus is a created being. He is not divine, which is still considered heresy generally, but it's not like you kill people over it in the modern age, at least. Thankfully, we have more tolerance. We have tolerance at home. The tolerance at home. Ah! I don't like this room. Get back here. Okay, good. Ooh. Okay, one more. Ah! Good. You. Bye-bye. This is, yeah, number 2, so cool. I'm gonna be able to make a 3rd episode out of this topic, because I have a lot left. Granted, all these episodes, not topics, are short because they always end at Mom's foot. Well, most of them do. Ah! Don't! Ah! Did it. Or she, or they. So I'm just gonna mention some historical things. Actually, you know, I'll separate the episodes like this. I'll get to what I meant to get to yesterday and talk about why the Romans didn't approve of Christianity. And then tomorrow we'll get into the history of bad stuff done by Christians. Puberty. I think that was nicely timed. Uh-oh. Not another room like this. So, why did the Romans not approve of Christianity when they approved of so many others? Well, again, they barely only tolerated Judaism, number 1. Number 2, a lot of the beliefs of the ancient world revolved around the idea that... And the challenge is over. Oh well. Revolved around the idea that your religious practices were not just about you, they were about your community as well. And so refusing to partake in state religious ceremonies and rituals could, in the beliefs of the ancient world, jeopardize the entirety of society. So, with Christianity proselytizing a lot of Romans, a lot of Roman pagans, that led to a sharp decline in participation in a lot of Roman state religions, which led the Romans to believe that catastrophe was surely going to happen. But also, it was kind of offensive to them that they didn't treat the Roman emperor like a god, like they demanded so many other people to. But that's the gist of it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part 3, where I actually, this time, talk about some of the historical bad things of Christianity. And yeah, it's not that pleasant to talk about at all. But I need to face it straight on, you know? As a Christian, I should take the time to know these things and understand them. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.